Amazing audience, we are live with no other than a Paula Slater. Paula, you're real.
I'm real.
It's a great pleasure to connect with you.
Nice to connect with you.
How are you doing?
I'm wonderful today.
It's wonderful to meet you. Thanks for coming out today.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
I remember it was like yesterday. We had a conversation. You were determined to make that conversation happen. You got some help. What was the name of the guy who was helping you?
Bob, my husband.
B.O.B. I remember him too. He was persistent as well, yeah?
I wish he was that persistent in our relationship. We are now divorced.
Yeah, he left.
We had to get divorced.
All right.
But you know what? That's okay. We're still friends.
Well, I'm glad he was there to help you that day, though.
And he helped me a lot while we were together.
Okay.
He really did. Which is why we're still friends.
Yeah, that's good. I love the joy you carry.
I feel it every day.
Yeah, you came out here. You're on your motorized thingy here with all these fancy knobs.
Yeah.
Nothing stops you.
I'm the Mario Andretti of the scooter world.
When we spoke so much about the things of value that I took away, right? The power of a conversation, the reality of having that one-to-one conversation, the opportunities that go with it, consistency. You just spoke about persistence and consistency. What did you just say before we recorded?
No. Persistence will let you achieve your goals, but persistence will let you keep them.
But consistency will let you keep them. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So persistence will allow you to achieve your goal, but consistency will allow you to keep them. That's beautiful. That's mine. They say if you say it twice, it's yours. So persistency will allow you to achieve your goal. Consistency will allow you to keep it. Yeah?
What good is it to arrive somewhere and not be able to stay?
Yeah.
Then you're up and down.
It's
kind of like dieting. You know, you diet, you get your goal weight, but you don't change your lifestyle, you end up getting fat again.
Yeah, that is never good. I'm having challenges with that though, like being fat. It's hard for me.
I'll lend you some. I got plenty.
Give us an update, like what's new, what's going on?
Well, I'm very excited because I'm going to be launching a new membership-based organization called Ponderous Community, which is all about having balance in your life for people that are deep thinkers that really want to get down to the nuts and bolts of what's going on in their life and do some deep interpersonal work, personal development work. It's going to be called the 7 Building Blocks of Happiness. So we're going to start with health. We're going to move up through mental and financial health and how those build. But you have to start with good health because that leads to all the other things.
Yeah.
When you have a good base, you can start adding all those other things, and then you finally get to your ultimate goal, which is real happiness. But you can't say, I want to be happier, but I'm not going to make any changes. You got to do the work.
Yes.
And it starts with the basics.
Ponders. Where did he come up with the name Ponders?
Well, because my friends always used to say to me, we just love to ponder with Paula. And originally my website was called Ponder with Paula, but then I changed it to newlifenowlv.com because nobody knew what Ponder with Paula meant.
Yeah.
But my company name was New Life Now.
Sounds like a great podcast, though, Ponder with Paula. I love the name of that, yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. Just talking to people and really getting to know what drives them and who they are. And that's one of the things I love about what you're doing, is to really get to know somebody. And this world is really based on relationships.
Yeah, I think so. It's been great meeting people, having those pre-conversations and post-conversations. Unfortunately, they only hear the conversations that we're having in this 12-minute segment, but the other conversations have been amazing. Like, I'm really excited for what can happen and what is happening because of conversations.
Just think how you grow as a person because you get to experience so many other people and what their life involved. And we learn from each other. That's how it's supposed to be. A long time ago when you had your nucleus family and everybody was together, you learned from your aunts and uncles. But now that the world is so transient and you can travel and be away from them, I mean, my nucleus family is mostly in New York. So when I moved and I started to build my own community out here, I had to seek that out, and we don't really know how to do that. We're used to our little tiny communities, and we went to school with people all of our lives, but when you break out of that, you don't have that to count on. You might say, I met a nice guy. Do you know this guy? Because you're in a small community, and your brother says, yeah, I went to school with his brother. Okay, so now you have some connection. How do you have a connection now? The only thing you do is do background check on the internet. It's kind of sad. Hey, there's always a solution if you want to find.
I totally agree. One of the segments we cover is your own unique real shoes. And that speaks to segments of your life and the shoes you wore. From 1 to 12, what were some types of shoes you wore?
I've always been a people person, so I saw it as a responsibility to just be kind to everybody I went to school with and be friends with everybody, to find their value and to focus on the good things about them. If there were things that weren't so great, I just focused on the positive, and I was friends with everybody in school. I'm still friends with a lot of kids I went to grammar school with till today.
What type of shoes? Like, I'm intrigued actually in the physical shoes you wore. What type of physical shoes did you wear?
Oh, my mother had this saying, you have to have serviceable shoes. That meant they had to be comfortable and wear for a long time. And they weren't always the prettiest shoes, but you know what? She had a point.
Yeah.
It's about quality over quantity.
Yeah, that's good. So you're wearing serviceable shoes from 1 to 12. What happens after that, like 12 to 24? What types of shoes were you wearing then?
Well, the most important pair was my mother's shoes.
Oh, really?
Because at 24 I had my son, and I was pregnant before I got married. And the minute I found out I was pregnant, I told myself, my number one job in this world is to raise this kid to the best of my ability, and I really prioritize motherhood because I think it's the most important job in the world.
And there we go.
It's the basis for what the next generation is going to be.
Yeah.
We can't be so busy as parents that we let go of what's really important. Time and love is what a child needs most.
I totally agree. What's your son's name?
His name is Matthew, and he's 30 years old now. He's the love of my life.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, Matthew, I hope you're loving this woman, yeah?
He does. He's so good to me.
What about after 24? What type of shoes were you wearing then?
Then I moved into my career, and, well, I moved to Vegas, where I worked here in the event industry, and it was a lot of fun. So that was the time of my life when I really had a good time. It wasn't so much when I was younger. My enjoyment of life came with my career. I got a lot of joy out of that.
Yeah.
As an event planner, I enjoyed putting on an event that people had a lot of. I was always interested in people having fun and enjoying life. The best moment was when you open the doors and people would walk in and they'd go, oh, and they'd be so excited. And I felt like if they weren't having fun, it was my job to go make sure they were having fun and talk to them.
Yeah.
If they didn't have anybody to talk to, I just made sure they were having a good time. I'd tell them jokes, whatever.
Are you wearing serviceable shoes at that time as well, or are you in like high heels?
High heels.
Yeah, I thought so.
I can. My feet actually are more comfortable in high heels than they used to be until I had my stroke. Then I was in sneakers because I was so used to wearing them.
Yeah.
Everybody'd say, don't you want to take your shoes off? I'm like, no, they're totally comfortable.
Wow. What size foot do you have?
A 7, which is like the average.
Perfect, yeah? For the
American woman has a 7, right?
That's wonderful. Do you have any regrets when you look back from then to now? Do you have any regrets?
The only thing I regret is that I didn't know that I was smarter than I really thought I was. Because when I had the stroke and they did a scan of my brain, in the stroke I lost 1/4 of the right side of my brain. It's completely dead.
Yeah.
But they said, well, the good news is the left side is perfect. And I was like, I knew it. I knew before I had the stroke I was really smart. I should have run for president then. And then I think, why was I ever afraid to try anything? Because people would tell me, geez, you're really good at this. But for some reason, I didn't own it.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have owned it, because if I would have had a little bit more confidence, I would have tried anything.
Yeah. What are you most excited about right now?
I'm excited by my Ponderous community.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to make a big difference in people's lives, and that is my goal, is to really save people time, money, and effort. If I can get down to the brass tacks and to the basics and help them start changing from the very soul of who they are, then it's authentic, it's real.
Yeah.
Those changes are going to take, it's like when you plant a seed and you don't take care of it, and it withers away. But if you take care of it and it's got strong roots, it'll last a really long time. It'll bear great fruit for not just the plant, but for everybody around it.
I love that. It comes back to persistence. And
exactly.
consistency. Yeah, that's good. When you heard this guy was coming from the Caribbean to meet you, what did you think? When you heard that this guy from the Caribbean was coming to meet you, what did you think?
I was so excited to meet you because I've seen you on Facebook, and I'm like, I really just want to meet him in person. I want to give this guy a hug.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We did get a hug in, didn't we? So, this has been such of a great pleasure sharing this conversation with you, amazing audience. But Paula, thank you for being an inspiration and for the conversation we had all the way back at episode, I think it was like 2 something, which is like almost 2 years ago. But to hear that conversation, and it really resonated with me in terms of the value of the conversation, the value of putting yourself out there. So thank you so much on my behalf for that.
You're welcome. Well, once you're in my database, I don't delete your contact information until I see your obituary. So we're friends forever.
I appreciate that. I'm not sure about the obituary thing, but
it's just the long-termness of the relationship.
Yeah.
I feel very connected to people, and I think it's important to understand that now my resources are your resources. If we all lived like that, just think where we'd be in the world.
Yeah.
We'd be one huge community. We'd have heaven on earth right now.
I love that. Well, legacy steps in, right? So even after the obituary, I'm sure there's someone that will continue to help us ponder with Paula. Yeah? Paula, this has been a great pleasure. Thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-minute Convos with Angel Jones. Did you have fun?
I did.
High five me. Boom. I love it.